There are continued concerns tonight for Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee as she continues her battle against pancreatic cancer. Now, she announced the diagnosis in a statement released last Sunday. That news shocking many. Looking ahead to next Tuesday evening, there will be a pray and praise service in honor of the Congresswoman. It's set to begin at 6:30 p.m. at the Community of Faith Church. I had a chance to speak with their pastor there, Bishop James Dixon. He says this is about the person, not politics. And joining us on The Factor Uncensored, we have with us Bishop James Dixon from Community of Faith. Glad to have you here on The Factor Uncensored. Bishop Dixon, when I saw an alert for a prayer vigil for the Congresswoman, Sheila Jackson Lee, it actually sent chills down my spine. Obviously, it tells us that things are very serious with this member of Congress, this beloved member of the community here in Houston who has worked for decades, making a difference, making a change. We know recently she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Obviously, you can't say much, but you're a close friend, family friend. But what can you say to us about Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee at this point?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on, Isaiah, and thank you for being sensitive as well, because I know you love and care about the Congresswoman yourself on a personal level, and we appreciate all of the love and support. Listen, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, we know is a champion for our community, for all segments of our community. And since her early days as a city councilwoman, she has worked her way into the hearts and consciousness of Houstonians and throughout our region and county and around the nation. I go places around the country and people literally think she's their congresswoman because she's working so hard for all people. It's amazing. Her energy and her passion for service is unsurpassed. And we're dealing with the fact that this woman of this dynamic energy and zest and zeal is now going through a human challenge. And it reminds us that no matter how much of a hero we have, amongst us in a person like Congresswoman Lee, she's still human, and she's a human being. And she's wrestling, as you just stated, with pancreatic cancer, but she is keeping the faith. And I think that that's the most important thing that I want to say about where she is mentally and spiritually. She is keeping the faith. She is still prayerful, still praying, and we are joining her in praying and faith because she's a woman who, she fights for everything she believes in, and she's fighting with that same zest and zeal against this disease, and we're joining her in the fight.
Absolutely. I can tell you a story back during the pandemic when COVID first happened, and there were very few and far in between COVID tests available around the country. And here I am in Montgomery County. I live in Montgomery County, but across from the Woodlands, there's a freedman's town across 45 called Tamina. And it's in Montgomery County as well, just like the Woodlands. But they could not get anyone to provide them in Tamina with any COVID tests whatsoever. I said, have you reached out to your representatives there, your members of Congress there? They said no one would respond or said they didn't have any COVID tests for us. I reached out to Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. She's like, Isaiah, that's not my district. You're about to get me in trouble. She says, but I will take care of it. And she had boots on the ground, the federal government there providing testing for those residents, and then followed up with actual vaccines when they were made available. So I know the work that she does quietly in the community. You don't see everything, you don't hear everything, but she is working nonstop and unrelenting in this community. Now, you guys have a prayer vigil scheduled for Tuesday. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, Friends for Sheila. Friends for Sheila came together and said, let's organize this prayer and praise vigil, prayer and praise service. She believes in prayer. I mean, think about it. She's been in all of our churches so often for so many different things. People even wonder, so what church is she a member of? Like, whose member is she, right? Because she's so faithful with that. But she also loves praise. It was Congresswoman Lee who sponsored a bill to make September National Gospel Music Month in the United States of America. She has done so much for gospel music and artists, and she's working, as we know now, on this museum that's being formulated here in Houston, Texas for gospel music. So that night on June the 11th, Tuesday, June the 11th, 6:30 p.m., here at the Community of Faith Church, we're going to have a prayer and praise service, praying for Congresswoman Lee, praying for her family, her husband, Dr. Elwin Lee, her daughter Erica, her son Jason, and her grandchildren, praying for them. This is not political. This is not partisanship. It's humanity. It's compassion. And V. Michael McKay is organizing the music. We got artists like Brian Courtney Wilson, Kathy Taylor, Zacorda Cortez, Ernest Pugh. We're waiting on Yolanda Adams to see if she can make it. People are saying yes, yes, yes. Stacey Johnson is leading dancers. It's going to be an inspiring prayerful night for people across the city, Black, white, brown, Asian, every ethnicity, all cultures. And we're going to be praying in a very ecumenical way, all saying, God bless and heal and touch our sister, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. It's an opportunity for us to come together and lay differences aside, because all of us who are decent believe in the fact that humanity has to always rise above all other differences. And that's what we're going to see on Tuesday night. And I tell you, she's already communicated with me that she appreciates the responses and the organizing of this event, and she's going to be inspired by what happens on Tuesday night.
Absolutely. We look forward to it, and we appreciate you keeping us updated, Bishop Dixon, and the hard work that you do in the community as well.